So, from the very beginning of the book of Joel all the way through chapter 2, verse 27, it really begins with the onslaught of this plague of locusts and what the people need to do, and returning to God and confessing their sin and fasting and praying and hoping that God will help turn things around. And in verse 27 of chapter 2, we get this wonderful assurance. You shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I, the Lord, am your God, and there is no other, and my people shall never again be put to shame. The people were going through a time of great trial and hardship and calamity because of the locust plague, because of the lack of food, because of the drought, which was also leading them to more wildfires. It was just an awful, terrible time. And when you're in the midst of an awful, terrible time, I remember there was a book we used to read to Nathan and Greg when they were really, really young. And I forget the name of the boy now, but it was about someone's horrible, terrible, no good day. Some of you might remember it. But when you're in the midst of a horrible, terrible, no good day, what difference does it make? Because that's where God's people were in Joel. To know that the Lord says, you know what? I am right in your midst. I am right in there with you, even when you're going through a horrible, terrible, no good day or time or season in your life. And then the Lord assures, I am the Lord. I am your God, and there is no other. And we have this wonderful promise that my people shall never again be put to shame. And sometimes when you're going through a really hard or difficult time, and we've been living through one with this pandemic for almost 2 years now, I think one of the hardest things is just not knowing, how long do I have to endure this? And that can be true if you have a physical or a chronic issue, that something that's just not healing, it's just not turning around, it's not getting better. One of the hardest things is just not knowing how long. How long do I need to persevere through this? And so the idea that God's saying, my people will never again be put to shame, I think part of what God's trying to assure the people is, you're going to get through this, and once you get through it, things are going to get better. And that kind of assurance from the Lord, I'm with you, I'm in your midst, I'm your God, we have a direct relationship, and you'll never again be put to shame. You won't go through something like this again. It's a way of God saying, there are better times ahead. There is hope in the future. And I will provide for you what you need. And I'm sure for Joel's people and for us, that is hopeful, good news.